Okay, operating courtesy. They say you should always be courteous, kind of like Boy Scouts.
Mhm.
So you want to try to select a frequency that somebody's not using. Um, if you're doing CW, you send a QRL code followed by your call sign, which is a question of is this frequency busy or in use? If you're doing voice or phone, you ask if that frequency is in use.
Or you could
I
say
guess you could say QRL
QRLs.
if they would know what it was. So how can you avoid harmful interference on apparently clear frequency before calling CQ on CW or phone?
A works. B would work too, but I think you want A. Sure.
Yeah,
You should always listen.
he's not good practice, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. What does the Q signal, QRL, mean?
Doggy. Doggy.
All right. Is frequency in use or is it busy? Another way to avoid interference is to follow the voluntary band plan for the mode you intend to use. Uh,
I bet you Bob put that thing in about avoiding 0.074.
yeah, we don't like CW people on FT8. Messes up the waterfall. And besides, I usually have the audio where I can hear the meow, meow, meow.
It's just electrons.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But that was just an example that you don't want to do CW in the FT8 segment because the band plan says you're not supposed to.
FTA. But it's not a law.
It's not a law, it's a voluntary band plan.
Yeah. FTA does not like square wave signals.
No, it's a frequency modulation.
Yeah.
Which of the following complies with good amateur practice when choosing a frequency on which to initiate a call?
You can do all those things. Yeah.
Well, let's see. But
that's what they want.
You could do all of them, but following the band plan is the optimal one. And on the exam, that's the one that counts. Band plan restrictions. There are some frequencies or small segments of bands that are set aside as a DX window, and I did not know this.
And there's QRP places.
Yeah.
No one knows where they are except the QRP operators.
So US stations are not supposed to call inside that window. And one of them on the 6 meter band is the 50.1 to 50.25 megahertz segment, which is reserved for DX. When you're within the contiguous 48 states and you're calling DX, so you want to make contact with somebody in Europe or Africa or Asia.
So I can't go there and call TTDX? Yes.
You know, you can call, you can't answer.
What? I can't answer?
Right, because you're in the contiguous 48 states.
You can answer somebody that's outside. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Okay. Or did I get that backwards?
I think it's a matter of courtesy. US stations are not called inside that window, so. You're supposed to listen to people calling, then you can respond to them because, you have privileges there. Transmit.
Oh, yeah. It's not a privilege issue. It's a courtesy
Yeah,
and band plan issue of when you're doing DX, the whole point is you want to make contact with a DX, not
Yeah.
a local.
Yeah.
So if somebody is in the United States calling DX, somebody else in the United States is not supposed to reply.
someone, yeah, that's not supposed to fly, but states, if they're in the United States.
And if somebody's calling from outside, then the US is supposed to,
There,
well, may reply.
there. That's much better.
Okay. What is the voluntary band plan restriction for US stations transmitting within the 48 contiguous states in the 50.1 to 50.125 band segment?
Only contact the stations, not.
All right. Avoiding interference. Okay, you want to make sure that the frequency that you're tuned to is not too close to another station. So you want to be separated by at least 3 kilohertz if you're doing single sideband, or 150 to 500 hertz if you're doing CW. So when selecting a single sideband transmit frequency, what minimum separation should be used to minimize interference to stations on adjacent frequencies?
Okay.
So it's almost like using channels.
Mm-hmm.
When selecting a CW transmitting frequency, what minimum separation should be used to minimize interference to stations on adjacent frequencies for CW?
Lot.
150 to 500. Propagation changes. You could be listening and the conditions change, and all of a sudden you're getting interference from another station that you didn't hear before. So you need to try to resolve the interference problem with usually somebody moving. So you make a gentleman's agreement of, or you flip a coin or something to decide who moves,
Or you make a new friend.
or you make a new friend.
Unless it's 80 meters and it's after 10 at night.
And then,
Big fire.
yeah, I keep hearing, I don't ever listen to 80. I keep hearing that's
Listen earlier, just about 5, 6 o'clock. Most of those guys are intelligent, doing technical conversations, solving technical problems. The later the night gets, after 10 o'clock, it's like a bar.
That's because they're drinking, trying to make contacts.
Oh, they know who they contact. It's just like
same group all the time.
Bar. And everyone has their own private, serving station.
What is good amateur practice if propagation changes during a contact and you notice interference from other stations on the frequency?
Just resolve it.
Right. Because nobody has priority, even though the 80 meter guys will differ.
Yeah.
Decreasing power and continuing to transmit is not how you resolve it. Switching to the opposite sideband, well, that's kind of changing frequency, but that's not really. Frequency usage. So no one owns any frequency or band, and nets do not either. Even though I think if you try to interrupt the net, they probably tell you where to go, but they allow you to join, but they're not going to stop the net for you. Except during emergencies. In an emergency, basically all bets are off. You can use any frequency or mode or means to let you assist in an emergency. Which of the following is true concerning access to frequencies?
Charlie. Papa.
Charlie. Emergency operations, helping the station in distress, should be your first priority. If a station breaks in while you're making contact, you should acknowledge that the station in distress and try to find out what assistance they need and what assistance you may be able to provide.
They are selling a huge number of VHF, UHF transceivers to people, telling them that they don't need a license to transmit in case of an emergency.
Well, that's true, but that's not.
But they were all over Facebook recently.
Well, I don't doubt it. People will do anything to make money.
Yeah, Steve had to get one there. He was monitoring the 370 and someone was out on the 528 westbound toward I-95. And they hit a deer. Airbags deployed. They got off the road, but it's pretty good impact. So their cell phone went down into the floor, and they were somewhat, mobility impaired, and they couldn't get to their phone, but they could get to the radio.
Oh, really?
My question is, did they get out and field strip the deer and take it home?
No.
Little fresh venison is always nice that way.
Yeah, but unless you had a license, that's illegal. Or stamp, whatever they do down here in Florida. What is the first thing you should do if you're communicating with another station and hear a station in distress break in?
Bravo.
Bravo. Okay. The RACES, or the Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service, which was created by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, may be activated in an emergency. And to be a RACES member, you have to be a licensed radio amateur and get some kind of certification by taking some courses from a civil defense agency.
At least ICS 100.
Yeah, I think there's three of them in there.
Yeah. The
Because they're
minimum,
on the ARL site. I've started to do them once.
when you have 100, 200, 300, 400, 700, 800, you don't care anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But during an emergency, the control operator of a RACES station only has to be an FCC licensed amateur radio operator. Apparently, you do not have to be a RACES member in that situation. It's kind of like in the case of emergency, the rules don't all apply. So who may be the control operator of an amateur station transmitting in RACES to assist relief operations during a disaster?
FCC question.
Right. Okay. So during an emergency, an amateur station is allowed to do basically anything um, that doesn't break the law or harm somebody or do damage. So if a station is in distress in an actual emergency, you can use any means at your disposal to assist, which means any frequency, any band, any mode. And whatever has the best chance of communicating the message or the information that you're trying to relay somewhere, whether it's placing a 911 call or who knows. Depends on the situation. Let's see. As part of the RACI stuff, there's drills and tests that are necessary to ensure the orderly and efficient operation of RACIs that they conduct on the air. And the rule is the drills or tests may not exceed a total of 1 hour per week.
Well, what I've been reading the past several months is they're moving away from the Aries Races model and they're moving toward the OGSCOM model. And under the FEMA Races model, you have a lot more local control. Under the OGSCOM model, it's a lot more structured top down.
I don't know. But they just changed the question pool for general. So these, whether they're valid or not, all these things about RACIs will apply for the next 4 years.
Do they cover Aries also?
No, but we did in technician
That's
a
right.
little bit about Aries and RACI, kind of know what they are.
Well, the difference primarily is that the racing organization has a tighter connection to FEMA and local emergency management. And if you're a certified racing operator, you can actually be compensated for operating a radio.
Really?
Yeah.
You get paid for dealing with an emergency?
If you're,
That doesn't sound right.
check it out. It is the only instance.
I thought you was just, you could be reimbursed for your expenditures.
That sounds more like it.
Yeah. Because I know they've done that with Mars also.
So how often may RACIs, training drills, and tests be routinely conducted without special authorization?
No more than 1 hour per week.
1 hour per week. The RACIs drills often appear to be a net. I guess they're effectively a net to conduct it. So they need to follow the normal net operating procedures with check-ins and stuff.
Is that monofilament net or what type?
Fish. And they need to have a backup frequency in case there's a interference or poor conditions, so the net can move to an alternate or backup frequency. So which of the following is good amateur practice for net management?
Yeah, backup frequency.
All right.
That's the best one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what multiple sets of phonetics means.
Well,
Multiple sets?
Boca, Boy, Billy, Bravo.
Oh, okay. In addition to the NATO set, all the others?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jalapeno for. Yeah. Instead of Julia.
Jalapeno.
Yeah,
I have to use that sometime. Jalapeno.
Now, I haven't
pterodactyl.
noticed on any of the nets I've been that they've set up a backup frequency.
Pterodactyl or bee.
Well, if you're a member of the club, you realize that 147.42 is a local simplex frequency,
Right.
and then the 88 is the backup repeater.
Okay.
So that's sort of unspoken. But immediately you go to reverse on the repeater frequency.
It's there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We're moving right along.